Go Mouse Scouts, episode 123.
Let's see if I can remember this. You're listening to Go Mouse Scouts, where we're dedicated to helping you and your kids have a great time at the Disney parks, whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro. My name is Kris.
And I'm Megan.
And you're holding...
Roddy!
This episode, we're going to talk about how to avoid meltdowns at the Disney parks, which is a big topic. But before we actually delve into that, we have a little bit of we're gonna just tell you a little bit about what's been going on in our lives so far, because we've been on a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of weeks, and so the big difference is the last time we recorded, we had a baby in between us, but the baby was still inside Megan, and now he's out.
He's out, and he's almost 2 weeks old now.
Yeah, so we're super excited about that. And we've been posting pictures on Facebook, and we put some up in our Facebook group as well, in the Go Mouse Scouts group. And there's also another thing that we created as well, which is our guidebook to visiting Disneyland with young kids and babies. So that is now available. You can find that at gomousescouts.com/Disneyland book. And, you can check that out. It's also available in the Kindle ebook store on Amazon. So you'll want to check that out. I also wanted to mention to you guys that if you enjoy our show, you can help us out by giving us a rating and review in the Apple Podcasts directory. And the reason I'm saying that is because I also wanted to read real quick a recent review that we received. This was from the UK directory, and it's from Tom from the Disney Frontier. And he says, I would recommend this podcast to anyone who loves Disney. Mouse Scouts is a very fun and informative podcast that gives you that little bit of crucial Disney magic to get you through your days when you're not at the parks. You can clearly see a lot of time and effort has been put into this fantastic podcast. And it's that combined with its all-around fun nature that makes it one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. Keep up the great work, guys. Can't wait for the next episode. So thank you, Tom, for that. We really appreciate that. And, if you guys would like to do the same, Mouse Scouts, we would love to read your review as well on the show. So, all right, let's get into the episode where we're going to talk about how to avoid meltdowns at Disneyland or Disney World. These can really carry across, all the parks,
or anywhere else,
or at Costco, at Target, at the miniature golf course, at church, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, it's always easiest to head off a meltdown rather than have to deal with it once it's started. Really, once the meltdown has started, all you can really do is get your kid off to the quietest corner that you can, as close as possible to you, and wait it out.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with those judgmental eyes on you, but you just have to ignore them.
And don't lie to yourself. Before you guys had kids, you had those judgmental eyes as well. But those judgmental eyes change once you've had kids and you see somebody else. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I am so glad that is not me right now. And I so feel for those people.
Yeah.
So there's really five things to look for when your kid is having a meltdown. It's really for one of these 5 reasons. And the first reason is that they're either hungry or thirsty.
Right. And especially with your younger kids, they don't necessarily know that that's what their problem is. They just know that something feels off, and so they're going to scream about it.
Yeah.
So the obvious fix for that is making sure that, you're taking plenty of drink breaks. Make sure your child's drinking enough, and make sure you got snacks on you, and pay attention to how long it's been since you last ate.
Snacks are magic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I know that our second child, Kit, seems to have some issues sometimes with like low blood sugar or something, and he just gets really cranky sometimes. And if we can get a snack into him before he gets too cranky, then, things are better.
Yeah. Isn't there a word for that? Hangry?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You're not the same when you're hungry, right?
Right.
So, and another thing to consider with that one is to, also keep in mind your regular schedule that you would be on if you weren't at the Disney parks. We've mentioned this before in past episodes, but, if your kids usually eat at 11 for lunch or whatever, and you're at the parks, they're still their bodies are still gonna get hungry at that time, whether you want to hold off a little bit longer before you guys sit down for lunch or whatever, they're still going to be on that schedule.
Right.
So try and keep that in mind and try and keep up with their schedule so you can kind of, head that off at the pass. Another reason that they might be have a meltdown would be because they're tired.
Right. You got up early to get there. You may have stayed up too late the night before if you were there the night before also. Mm-hmm. They're missing their naps. I know that our toddlers don't take naps at Disneyland past about a year and a half, even though they're still taking naps at home at that point.
Yeah.
So, and then of course they crash hard at like 5:00.
Yep. And that's when you can do a lot of your shopping or whatever, or, just like kind of
baby
hang out
swapping or,
yeah.
So you can head that off by, when you think that your kid is getting tired, find a place to rest. Take a ride on the train or the monorail. Something that doesn't involve a whole lot of noise and, something that's more of the soothing motions. And
yeah, and we've done a past episode on great places for your kids to have some quiet time at the parks as well. So look in our past episodes for that. Much of the content that we put out is evergreen content that will always be, always. I'm just like tripping over my words tonight. Always be relevant. Relevant. That's the word I'm looking for. All right. Another reason that they might have a meltdown is because
they are hot or cold. Depending on the temperature of the day. More likely to be hot than cold.
Especially out here in California.
Yep. Or Florida. I mean, it's not exactly cold there most of the time either.
That's true.
So, again, paying attention to how much they're drinking, checking, especially if they're wearing costumes and stuff, check them regularly. Yeah. Stick your fingers down the back of their neck real quick and see what their body temperature is like. And if they're really sweaty and, maybe it's time to take that costume off, because most of those costumes, especially if you're buying the Disney store ones, they're not made out of breathable material.
Right.
They can get very hot.
Yeah. And like those superhero ones, I mean, Kit has like a Captain America and a Wolverine.
Right. And they're all padded and
because they got to be muscly. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that padding
check that.
Makes things hot. Another reason your kid might be having a meltdown is because he or she needs to get down and run around.
Right. It's something we forget as adults because, we're walking, we're moving, and we probably aren't as physically active as our young children typically are. Kit, lately, we've had so many people comment on just how much he moves nonstop. And they're just like, he's wearing me out just watching him.
Yeah.
As he's just bouncing up and down. But, there's not as much space for free play and stuff as they would have at home. And so it's important, especially for your toddlers, that you plan in some time where they can just move, of their own accord, and they have space to move around and just be busy on their own. And I know it's annoying to be like, we came to Disneyland and we're at a playground. I mean, really, we spent money and time to come here and we are at a playground doing what we could be doing at home. But sometimes they need, 10 minutes to just blow off some steam.
Yeah. Or even, get them out of the stroller and have them walk along with you.
Right. Absolutely. They don't need to stay in the stroller the whole time. Especially if your next stop is not too far from where you're at. Don't take the stroller with you. Leave it at the, parking area that you're at and walk and let your child walk to the next spot, even if they're still pretty new at walking, they need to stretch their legs too.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that even our little babies, we wear them in the carrier, they still want to get down and stretch their legs. So we find opportunities for them to, put down a blanket on the ground and let them lay there and stretch and kick and stuff for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to find the opportunities for them to have a chance to blow off steam and stretch their muscles without you yelling at them to stop running and get back here.
Yeah. Yep. And finally, the last reason your kid may be having a meltdown is because they're overstimulated.
Overstimulated. Yes. Disneyland has so many sounds and sights and smells, and there's just so much going on that, especially for, it can be overwhelming for an adult, much less a small child. And they don't know how to shut that out or how to, get away from it themselves. So again, it's really important that you plan in rest time and such. Even for your little bitty tiny guys. I know that, Roddy here is not quite 2 weeks old, and his loving, adoring siblings keep overstimulating him to the point where he just goes into screaming meltdown mode. And the only thing that stops is for me to scoop him up and take him away from them, because they're just fawning over him and they want to touch him and they want to, poke at him and they just want to kiss him. And I'm like, just get off of him. He doesn't need all that. He just can't handle all that. So, I mean, overstimulation is an issue all the way from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. And, one thing I would mention is, we always see couples, families, having their kids in the carriers and stuff. And one of the ones that comes to mind, I think you call them crotch danglers or whatever. But the baby is facing outward, and at Disneyland, that may not be the best thing, because, they, like Megan mentioned, there's all kinds of sights and sounds and smells and everything, and it's all bombarding them all at once. And if you take your baby and turn them around, I don't know if you can do that in those ones or whatever, like the baby Bjorns or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you turn them around and have them facing towards you, they can choose, when they want to look at everything or hear everything. And if it's just too much, they can, turn their face into you and just kind of tune out the world for a couple minutes. And that could help as well on meltdowns.
If your forward facing carried baby keeps going to sleep, that may be a clue that they are overstimulated and maybe would do better if they were facing you. Because, in a little baby, that's one of the ways that they can shut things out is by going to sleep.
Yeah. And even one of the carriers that you really like, the Ergos, those have a little thing that comes out of the front and can go up over the baby's head as well, which can even help to further tune out the world for them. Now, if it's a hot day, you'll want to, be careful with that, because it can get hot in there and stuff. And, that's another thing you'll want to watch out for is your baby's temperature, which was obviously, another reason a kid might have a meltdown, because they're hot. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else that you think we missed?
Just make sure that you're watching all those things for yourself as well.
Touché.
Because, I know when I'm hungry, tired, thirsty, overstimulated, and my kid starts acting up, I'm not the best mother.
Full disclosure,
and I
folks.
don't do the best at recognizing what my kid needs and taking care of what they need before I end up losing it at them.
So take care of yourself before you can take care of your kids.
Right.
Right? It's kind of like what they say on the airplane when the masks come down. Make sure you have your mask on first so that you can help other people.
Exactly.
As I'm putting my hand in front of my face.
Right,
I don't know if that's affecting the microphone here, but yeah.
And of course, if you're feeling hungry and thirsty, chances are pretty good your child is as well. So.
Right. Good point. So yeah, keep those in mind. And I extend this out to you guys as well, Mouse Scouts. You guys are the main reason we're doing this is, to help build this community. So if you think we missed something, come join our Facebook group, which you can find at gomousescouts.com/Facebook. We're going to have this episode posted there, and you can feel free to comment on it. If you think we missed something, if you would like to add your own tips, whatever comments you would like, when it pertains to this subject, feel free. And you can almost email us. You can also email us at fun@gomousescouts.com. And we would love to hear from you guys. And check out our brand new book, the Go Mouse Scouts Guide to Visiting Disneyland with Young Kids and Still Having a Great Time. So you can find that at our website and also in the Amazon Kindle store. So thank you everybody so much for listening. It feels good to be back in the saddle after our hiatus, and we look forward to getting more great content out to you guys. So take care.
Disney 98. Papa, what is